We were surprised this week to learn of Mike's 2013-2014 podcast and the offensive language he used in the past. We have spoken with him about our concerns and our expectations moving forward. Richards will remain in his role leading the show. The company spokesperson added, "It is our hope that as EP he will continue to do so with professionalism and respect." Host selection raised many questions. Richards stepped down from his new role just a week after Sony Pictures Television said he would become the new host of the daily program, with actor Mayim Bialik also named the host of a Jeopardy! Primetime series and spin-offs. The choice had set off a raft of questions, particularly after the venerable franchise attracted a wide range of candidates who guest hosted during a highly publicized search for Trebek's replacement. With Richards relinquishing his hosting duties, the show's producers will resume their search for a new host. In the meantime, we will be bringing back guest hosts to continue production for the new season, Richards said in his message to the staff. Richards said in his message that he had been honored to be tapped to fill the role that was defined by the late Alex Trebek. "It pains me that these past incidents and comments have cast such a shadow on Jeopardy! As we look to start a new chapter," he said. Episodes featuring Richards as the host, including 5 that were taped on Thursday, will air as scheduled. Controversy intensified when an old podcast resurfaced. Richards came under added scrutiny this week, when The Ringer reported that from 2013 to 2014, when Richards hosted a podcast called The Random Show, he repeatedly used offensive language and disparaged women's bodies. The podcast had been created as a look behind the curtains of The Price is Right show that Richards was then helping to lead. The podcast was taken down shortly after The Ringer reached out for comment about it, and Richards issued an apology in a statement that also sought to do damage control. "It is humbling to confront a terribly embarrassing moment of misjudgment, thoughtlessness, and insensitivity from nearly a decade ago," Richards was quoted as saying. "Looking back now, there is no excuse, of course, for the comments I made on this podcast, and I am deeply sorry." The podcast was intended to be a series of irreverent conversations between longtime friends who had a history of joking around, he said, adding that the results were not acceptable. Read Richards' message to the show's staff. Here's Richards' full internal note to staff, which the show says should serve as his public statement. "Dear team, it pains me that these past incidents and comments have cast such a shadow on Jeopardy! As we look to start a new chapter. As I mentioned last week, I was deeply honored to be asked to host the syndicated show and was thrilled by the opportunity to expand my role.